Now, let's just go over to Biggie for a hot second, right? Well, this is the Biggie case right here. So let's just say right here with Biggie, right? Did y'all know that 6 LA police officers worked for Biggie that night or Bad Boy that night at the Peterson Museum when Big got killed? Now, here's the interesting thing. Gene Squill, he mentioned Paul was there, right? But he also said that it was some Inglewood cop, right? Why Gene Squirrel never said his name, I don't know. But I'll tell y'all his name. 'Cause it's in black and white. His name is Reggie Blaylock, right? Now, Reggie Blaylock was in the black Chevy Blazer with Paul Orford. Remember, Gene Squirrel always talk about Paul Orford, and now he tried to talk bad about Paul, right? Um, how he gave Paul one and Nina or Nene, right? He gave Paul Nina or Nene, right? But we also know that he gave D Rock a gun, right? And he tried to lie about it until I busted him, right? And he had to tell the truth. So once he came clean and said, "Oh, he gave D Rock a gun," it went from Paul. He just gave Paul a gun, and that was it. And then he had to tell the truth when I put him on Front Street and said that he gave what you call it a gun, D Rock a gun, right? But the whole time he tells that story, he never mentioned Reggie Blaylock's name, right? Why? Because Reggie Blaylock was an Inglewood officer who was not supposed to be doing security off duty for no rappers. I'm trying to cut this damn Aunt and Monica bracelet off my wrist. Um, but just know that Reggie Blaylock was in the car with Paul Orford in the Chevy Blazer, right? Now, I'm gonna drop some names since they wasn't dropping no names because these names are gonna connect these dots, right? Now, how Reggie, this cop, this Inglewood cop, he didn't get hired uh through pork butt for Bad Boy, because remember, Bad Boy tried to hire pork butt too to do some security for them, right? Reggie Blaylock, he got the job through a dude named Kenneth Story. One day he was working out in the gym and Kenneth told him about the job offer and he took it. There we go. Shout out to Monica. Right? Now, Reggie Blaylock, he left the scene after the shooting because he didn't want to get questioned because he didn't have a permit to work security that night. So he didn't want to get in trouble and have to answer no questions, right? But when they caught up with him and found out that he was there a few days later, detectives went and talked to him. And Reggie Blaylock's statement said that all he could remember was Diddy loading two women in his car before pulling off, and that he was impressed by Gene Deal, who was Biggie bodyguard that night, and he didn't notice any attention, any he didn't notice any bad tension between Biggie and the Crips who approached Biggie at the party at the Peterson that night. Now we all know that Gene Squill tells the story how Keefy D and them came over to him, and he was like, yo, yo, Big, you remember Keefy D and them, right? And Big was like, oh yeah, he hollered at them, they talked, and then remember, Puff also hollered at Keefy D and them and told them that the police was following them, so to fall back, because they had heat on them. Which I come to find out that Diddy was telling the truth. They were followed by two NYPD detectives. Now, before I tell you about those detectives that was following them that night, right? Reggie Blaylock stated that a white Toyota Land Cruiser SUV tried to pull in between his Blazer, the Chevy Blazer that him and Paul was in, and Biggie's green Suburban, which they noticed that the Land Cruiser tried to pull in between them, right? Now, I'll tell y'all who it was in that Land Cruiser too. Now, another thing that Gene Squirrel didn't tell us is that when now a lot of y'all may envision this the way he tell the story is Kitty, run the next three lights, Kitty. Kitty, run the next three lights, Kitty. Y'all would have thought that they blew straight through the lights. No, they made a left. Now remember, the shooter came up, pop, 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 bust the right down Wilshire. When when Puff car came up, they didn't go straight, they bust the left, right? Let's keep that in mind. Now, now Reggie Blaylock, he seen the Impala. He gave a description of the vehicle, of the shooter's vehicle, of it being a late model Chevy SSC Impala, black with large wide tires. He said, and the shooter arm came out, and the complexion was light skinned or lighter than his complexion, right? So if the arm came out of the shooter and it was lighter than his complexion or light skin, all y'all talking that Poochie story, bye bye to your Poochie theory. Because not only what Little C saw, Reggie Blaylock saw, he said, a arm lighter than his. Poochie ain't nothing light about Poochie, right? And also, what did Gaddafi say? Dude was light skinned. That's the Tupac shooting. Light skin, bald head with a mustache, look like a bitch in the face. The shooter at the Biggie's joint is lighter in complexion than Reggie Blaylock, right? Then you got Suge to say, if you solve one, you solve both, right? Okay. So pay attention. He said he stuck his arm out and let off 4 shots. Bang, 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 bang. And then he fired 3 more. Bang, bang, bang. He said, now he said he tried to pursue the Impala, but it vanished after it made the right. He said he left the scene without giving a statement and gave this statement he gave was a week later. He said he knew he would get in trouble for working without a permit and didn't want to answer any questions if he didn't have to. Now, y'all notice this guy was sitting there, Gene Deal. He mentioned Paul name, he mentioned D Rock name, he mentioned everybody's name, but he never mentioned Reggie Blaylock's name. But that is the cop that was driving in the car with Paul behind Big. That was the Inglewood officer. Now, if you heard him say his name, then you heard it. I never heard him say Reggie Blaylock's name. And Reggie Blaylock got in trouble for that because he wasn't supposed to be working off duty for any hip hop people and he didn't have no permit. And he got suspended for that for 24 days. He got suspended for 24 days for accepting work without proper authorization from the Inglewood Police Department. We also know that Gene Dale didn't have a work permit either or authorization from his job, right? This is probably why Gene probably was running all around, went to chase a car that been going 3 hours already. I'm exaggerating. He chased like they done ran the lights, came back. He told me he jumped in the car with Tone and they chased the car. That car was gone when Reggie Blaylock seen them do the shooting. Bang, 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 bang. Took off. Red Gene and them already busted left on Wilshire. The car went right. They done ran a few lights and then turned around and came back. Right? Which would make sense now when you think about it, because on what street is that? That was a one-way street where Diddy and them came out and went up and went straight. So if Gene and them blew the light and went straight, they wouldn't have been able to turn around and drive back on oncoming traffic because that was a one way, right? Or was it? I got to go back and look at that street. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know, right? But either way, they busted left at the light on Wilshire.